Spain are one of the favorites to win the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Cape Verde are playing their first World Cup match in history. On paper, this should be a mismatch. A European giant filled with world-class stars, against a nation of just 500,000 people making their debut on football's biggest stage. But here's the question nobody's asking. What if this match is far more dangerous for Spain than it looks? Because history has shown us that every World Cup produces at least one shock. And if Cape Verde can survive the opening storm, frustrate Spain's superstars, and drag this game deep into the second half, the pressure could begin to shift. Today, we're breaking down the tactical battle, the key players, the hidden weaknesses, and predicting exactly what could happen when Spain and Cape Verde collide in Atlanta. Let's get into it. The opening match of Group H is more than just another World Cup game. It's a collision between two completely different football worlds. Spain arrive as European champions and legitimate World Cup contenders. Luis de la Fuente has transformed La Roja into one of the most balanced teams on the planet. Elite midfield, elite possession, elite pressing, elite young talent. Everything about this Spanish side screams contender. Meanwhile, Cape Verde arrive carrying one of the most remarkable stories of the entire tournament. Just think about it. A nation with a population smaller than many cities around the world. A country that has never appeared at a FIFA World Cup. A team that most casual fans couldn't name 3 players from. Yet somehow they qualified ahead of Cameroon, ahead of one of Africa's traditional powers. And now they're here, standing on the same stage as Spain. But here's where the story gets interesting. Cape Verde didn't qualify by accident. They qualified because they are organized, disciplined, defensively stubborn, and incredibly difficult to break down. That matters. Because Spain's biggest challenge isn't usually creating chances, it's converting dominance into goals. And that creates our first major question: can Cape Verde survive long enough to make Spain uncomfortable? Keep that thought in mind, because it may decide everything. Before we talk about Cape Verde's chances, we need to understand what Spain actually are right now. This isn't the Spain of 2010, nor the Spain that disappointed in previous World Cups. This version is different, more direct, more aggressive, more unpredictable. Most importantly, they've solved the balance problem. For years, Spain could dominate possession without always threatening opponents. Now they do both. Just look at their World Cup qualifying campaign. 21 goals scored, only 2 conceded, 5 wins from 6 matches, an average of 3.5 goals per game. Those numbers are frightening, and they all begin with one man, Rodri. When Rodri plays, Spain control games. Not because he scores goals, not because he produces highlights, but because he controls rhythm. Every attack, every transition, every defensive recovery, everything flows through him. Then you add Pedri, perhaps the best space interpreter in world football, a player who seems to know where pressure is coming from before anyone else. And alongside him is Fabian Ruiz, the midfielder who quietly destroys teams through intelligent movement and progressive passing. Together, they form arguably the strongest midfield trio in this World Cup, and that should terrify Cape Verde. But there's another layer: Spain's wide threats: Lamine Yamal, Nico Williams, Dani Olmo, Ferran Torres, Mikel Oyarzabal. There are goals everywhere. Even with injury concerns surrounding Yamal and Williams, Spain possess enough attacking quality to overwhelm most teams. Yet those injuries create an interesting tactical dilemma. And that leads us to our next question. Will Spain go full strength? Or will they manage minutes with the tougher matches still ahead? Because that decision could shape the entire game. Now let's talk about the underdogs, because writing off Cape Verde would be a mistake. Not because they're likely to win, but because they have something many smaller nations don't: a clear identity. Cape Verde know exactly who they are. They're not trying to outplay Spain. They're not trying to dominate possession. They're not trying to exchange punches. Their mission is survival, and survival can be powerful. Expect a deep 4-2-3-1 shape. 2 holding midfielders protecting the defense, compact spacing between the lines, minimal gaps centrally, every player working behind the ball. The objective is simple: force Spain wide, protect the middle, crowd the box, make every chance difficult. It's not glamorous, but it works. Their qualifying campaign proved that. Finishing ahead of Cameroon wasn't luck, it was structure, discipline, commitment. And while Spain are significantly better, Cape Verde have enough organization to create frustration. The key figure here may be Logan Costa. The Villarreal defender will likely face one of the toughest assignments of his career: organizing the back line, managing defensive transitions, preventing panic when Spain begins circulating possession around the penalty area. If Costa performs brilliantly, Cape Verde might survive. If he struggles, this could become a very long afternoon. But there's another player Spain must watch: Ryan Mendes. Because every underdog needs a counter-attacking outlet, and Mendes Mendez is exactly that. The captain, the leader, the most experienced player in the squad. If Cape Verde create one magical moment, chances are it will involve him. And that's where things become interesting, because Spain's greatest strength can occasionally become a weakness. Forget possession, forget star power, forget reputation. This game comes down to one battle: Spain's midfield versus Cape Verde's defensive block. That's it. Everything else is secondary. Spain will likely enjoy between 65 and 75% possession, perhaps even more. Cape Verde know this. They're prepared for it. The real question is what Spain do with that possession. Will they move the block quickly? Will they create overloads? Will they stretch Cape Verde horizontally? Will they find runners between the lines? Because if they do, the floodgates could open. Watch Pedri closely. His movement between defensive lines is often impossible to track. Then watch Fabian Ruiz. His late runs into advanced areas regularly catch defenders off guard. And finally, watch Rodri. He'll spend the entire game manipulating Cape Verde's shape, pulling players out of position, creating passing lanes, waiting for the perfect opening. Now here's the danger for Spain. If they don't score early, everything changes. Every minute that passes increases Cape Verde's belief. Every clearance becomes louder, every save becomes bigger, every successful defensive sequence fuels confidence, and eventually pressure starts affecting the favorite. We've seen it happen before. World Cups are full of examples. The longer underdogs survive, the more dangerous they become, which is why the first 30 minutes may decide the entire match. Spain need an early breakthrough. Cape Verde need resistance. That battle alone makes this game fascinating. Let's focus on the individuals who could define this match. First, Pedri. At just 23 years old, he's already one of the smartest midfielders in football. His ability to receive under pressure, escape markers, and unlock defenses makes him essential against low blocks. If Spain score early, there's a strong chance Pedri is involved. Next is Nico Williams, a player who doesn't always receive the headlines, but perhaps Spain's most reliable finisher. His movement inside the box is exceptional. His decision-making is elite. And against a deep defense, those qualities become even more valuable. Then there's Lamine Yamal, the wild card. If Spain struggle early, introducing Yamal could completely transform the game. His ability to eliminate defenders one-on-one is something Cape Verde simply cannot replicate. For Cape Verde, the spotlight belongs to Ryan Mendez. This is his moment, his nation's biggest match, their first World Cup appearance, their historic debut. If Cape Verde are going to create memories, Mendez will likely be at the center of them. Then there's Logan Costa, possibly the most important player on the field from Cape Verde's perspective. His leadership may determine whether this remains competitive or turns into a rout. And here's a question worth asking. Could this game create a new hero nobody saw coming? Every World Cup introduces us to unexpected stars. Maybe this is the match where it happens. Let's explore three possible outcomes. Spain starts slowly. The low block holds. The crowd becomes restless. Minutes pass. Pressure grows. Ryan Mendez produces a counterattack. Maybe Cape Verde even score first. Suddenly, panic enters the match. In this scenario, Cape Verde could steal a draw, or at least make history with a memorable performance. An early goal, possibly inside the opening 20 minutes. Cape Verde are forced to open up. The defensive shape stretches. Spain exploit the gaps. The game becomes one-way traffic. The result could easily reach 3, 4, or even 5 goals. This is where things get interesting. I don't think Cape Verde collapse immediately. I think they compete, I think they frustrate, I think they remain organized. For a while. But eventually the quality gap becomes too large. Spain's midfield control, Spain's movement, Spain's technical superiority. Over 90 minutes, those advantages usually win. The question isn't whether Spain create chances. The question is how long Cape Verde can resist them. Here's the mystery that keeps pulling me back to this match. What happens if Spain don't score early? Seriously, think about it. A historic underdog, a debut World Cup appearance, nothing to lose, everything to gain. The score remains 0-0 after an hour. Now what? Does Spain become nervous? Does Cape Verde begin believing? Does Atlanta witness one of those unforgettable World Cup stories? Because football isn't played on paper, it's played under pressure, and pressure changes everything. That's why this match is more fascinating than people think. Not because Spain are likely to lose, but because World Cups have a habit of creating moments nobody expects. And Cape Verde only need one, just one, to turn this from a routine opener into a global headline. When all factors are considered, Spain remain overwhelming favorites. Their midfield is superior, Their squad depth is superior. Their tactical flexibility is superior. And over 90 minutes, quality usually wins. Cape Verde will fight. They will defend. They will embrace the occasion. But eventually, Spain should find solutions. My prediction, Spain 3-0, Cape Verde. A competitive first half. A frustrated Cape Verde defensive effort. Then Spain's quality takes over after the break. But here's the real story. This match may tell us more about Spain's World Cup chances than the result itself. Can they break down deep defenses consistently? Can they handle expectations? Can they turn dominance into ruthless efficiency? Because after Cape Verde come bigger challenges. Uruguay, potential knockout opponents, the true contenders. And what happens in Atlanta might be our first clue as to whether Spain are simply favorites or genuine future world champions. And that's the question every football fan will be watching long after the final whistle.